All right, No King's Day was this Saturday. It's Monday. Dropping this late. It was an interesting event. I mean, not the most interesting event that I've ever been to, but a lot of people came out, went to the Fort Lauderdale beach area, heard that there was going to be a protest, and I said, you know what, I haven't been out in a while. Good opportunity to get back out there with people and see what people are thinking. I wanted to ask the public some questions. Because I mean, obviously we're living in times, scary times for some, financially hard times. Just precarious times in general. And that's how you get things like this mass protest events, like No Kings. Now I have my reservations about No Kings, and I had them going in, and I'll save my opinions for it after. I let these people speak for themselves. But here are some interviews that I got out there. Last minute, called my buddy Gio from the People's Podium. From the People Podium, and yeah, we just went out there and talked to people. And this is what they said. Please enjoy this podcast. I apologize for the loudness, but it's a protest, and that's what you're gonna get from a protest. All right. So, what brought you out here today?
What's been happening in this country?
Yeah.
I mean, since Trump and before Trump, this country's been kind of going towards a Christian nationalist, fascist place for a long time.
Yeah.
Since maybe the 70s,
Yeah.
with the end of Nixon, Reagan, Bush, all people that are just trying to turn sort of the country to the wealthy and the oligarchs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What policies or issues move you the most?
Well, the Bill of Rights.
Mhm.
I'd like to know that people have due process.
Yeah.
And I'd like not to arm an army of goons and thugs to terrorize people. Because if you're running up to people in mass with guns, probably not a good idea. Simply because there's no warrants, there's no probable cause.
Yeah.
It violates the Fourth Amendment, violates the Fifth Amendment, violates the First Amendment. So generally, I'd like to see the Constitution restored. I'd like to see people not working feverishly to stop people from voting.
Yeah.
I'd like to see people sort of embrace the idea of getting people to participate more. But I also think that both parties are guilty at times of just propping up the wealthy. Like sort of the mainstream parties on both ends are just looking to please rich, wealthy donors and do what they want versus what serves the people.
Yeah. Who exactly are you trying to speak to with this protest? Like your fellow Americans,
Yeah, fellow
politicians?
Americans. Yeah, well, and politicians to let people know that we're all pissed off.
Yeah.
Because Trump doesn't have much longer on this planet, just based on life expectancy, his age, his health. The reality is, once his personality is gone, I want them to know that their jobs are in grave jeopardy, that they're not going to be reelected, and they're going to be, maybe up for prosecution.
Yeah. Do you think that these protests will have an effect?
I think that the protests have to continue. One protest, there was the No Kings protest 3-4 months ago.
A few months ago.
The reality is you need to keep doing this. You need to keep contacting your Congress people, your representatives, and telling them that you're not accepting what they're doing or their failures to act. So this has to continue. It's just not one day. It's got to be a marathon kind of event.
Do you think that peaceful protest is the only way to achieve your political goals?
I don't think. At times, I think there has to be disruption. I think people need to stop showing up to work.
Yeah.
I think people need to stop doing things. Don't consume. Don't. What moves these people is when you stop paying for things and you stop consuming as much. We kind of have a society of reckless consumption and sort of like performative consumption. Everybody likes to say how they travel around the world and have this very expensive dinner. And frankly, I think we need to stop doing things like that until we see change happen.
Do you think that the Democrats are doing anywhere close to enough
No, not
to
even
combat
close. Not even
Trump?
close.
No.
They're the same people. I call them Republican light
Yeah.
or diet Republicans or Republican zero. I mean, they're just kind of, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, the mainstream politicians, they don't do squat. I think people like AOC, Bernie Sanders, they're on the right way. I think people should maybe endorse or engage with the Democratic Socialists or people more fringe political parties that are coming more to the mainstream because they want to help working people versus just serving the wealthy.
Yeah. Are you concerned about your tax dollars being spent on foreign wars and interventions?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The reality is we pay for genocide.
Yeah.
So it's a bit disgusting, and that's just what we do. But I'd like to see that stop.
Yeah. No, yeah, we only saw one Palestine flag over there.
Yeah, I saw when I was here in June. I saw several people.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people wearing the what is it, the keffiyeh? Or
the keffiyeh. Yeah. Have you been paying attention to the government targeting Latin American countries, Venezuela, Cuba?
Oh, absolutely, it's a farce.
Yeah.
We go to war to spend money and to make arms manufacturers wealthy, and to basically strike fear in the Western Hemisphere. We've been doing this for 75 years. I mean, this is like sort of a nonstop attack on them, and it's meant to intimidate. We prop up oligarchs in these countries. We wonder why people come to our country from these nations. Yeah. The reason they do is we prop up the people that are abusing them. Yeah. So they have nothing to do or nothing to gain there, the ordinary citizenry. Yeah. And they end up coming to the United States, and then we vilify them because we're propping up people that make them want to flee their own countries.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it hard talking to people, about politics and stuff like that?
No, not at all.
No?
No.
Like you open about it with family,
Absolutely.
you try to get people in?
Yeah. People get tired of me.
Yeah. No,
they don't want to hear from me.
I feel that. This is my last question. Are you concerned that mainstream media and mainstream politicians are supporting these No Kings protests?
Absolutely. No, they're not at all. I mean, it's the money is behind the mainstream. The money is behind keeping people sort of chained to this fictional accounting of reality. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the mainstream media cannot absolutely be relied upon. I think everybody's got to consume media from independent journalists, and you're not going to get it from MSNBC. You're not going to get it from CNN. You're certainly not getting it from Fox or Newsmax or any of that garbage. They don't want to help. They don't report on these kind of things. They try to obscure these kind of things. Yeah,
that's true. Appreciate you talking to us.
My pleasure.
I'm gonna get that mic from you.
Oh yeah.
What brought you out here today?
All the atrocities that are going against American people, both internationally and here on our soil, it's devastating, honestly.
Mm-hmm. What policies or issues move you the most?
I mean, clearly the genocide that's happening in Gaza right now, and then the proposed land grab that Trump and Israel are going after, and then I think just the rounding of people up on the streets with ICE and everything. It's terrible, honestly.
So like the authoritarian side of it.
You don't think it's going to happen until it does, and it starts slow. But once you realize that all the signs are pointing towards fascism right now, you realize that we can't be silent anymore.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it hard to talk to people in your life about these issues?
You have to surround yourself with the people who will be willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So, in ways, I think more family is hard to talk to, especially people who watch a lot of the major mainstream media, and they just get so contorted with what is reality and what isn't.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the ceasefire deal?
It's better than a genocide.
Yeah.
But anything's better than a genocide,
Yeah.
and we need to have higher standards for what this deal really means. And I mean, we've had so many ceasefire deals, but Israel doesn't seem to care about it. So it feels like a drop in the bucket to what really needs to be done. And you can't reverse the effects of what's been done. I think over 100,000 Palestinians have been killed already.
Yeah. Do you think that these protests will have an effect?
It's hard to say. I don't know if the No Kings movement has a real face behind it. They're not really asking for specific policies, but it's visibility, and I think visibility is important.
Yeah.
Kind of the idea that all press is good press. If we can get people to see that people care, I think then people will be more willing to speak up to the representatives. It is a bit showy, but if this is what we have, this is what we have.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Do you think that the Democrats are doing anywhere close to enough to combat Trump and the administration?
No, not nearly enough. But the Democratic Party is just a mess right now. They don't know what they need to do. And it's just getting stuck in their old ways and thinking that if they move further to the right, they'll get more people. But that's not really what it's about.
Yeah.
Negro is fine.
My last question, would you consider voting for third party in future elections?
Third party voting just doesn't have a basis right now. You can't. It's just throwing away your vote at this point. If we implement like a ranked choice voting system, like they're doing in New York and other states, then absolutely, I'd be more like incentivized to vote for smaller candidaats. That's why Mamdani is doing so well in New York. You know, ranked choice voting allowed people to have the opportunity to vote for someone who is smaller and not just the big names.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you, so if you think Mamdani was a third-party candidate, you think he would have a better chance, he would get the same results as he's getting right now if he was third-party?
It's hard. Probably not. Sometimes you have to work within the system and shift it further within. Because, I mean, the establishment is so ingrained in our current system, there's not a lot you can do about it right now.
So what brought you out here today?
I'm here to send the message that we don't want a king. In 1775, we fought the American Revolution to get rid of a king. We certainly don't need one now.
What policies or issues move you the most?
Well, I see all the early warning signs of fascism. You know, from book banning to messing with the attorneys and all of the things that are going on right now that they're stopping freedom, and we need to have freedom. I have an early warning signs. Whoa, look at that! I'm shedding here. Okay. The early warning signs of fascism, I always bring it with me. And you can get that on your camera here, early warning signs of fascism. This was posted at the Holocaust Museum way back when, and basically controlled mass media, obsession with national security, religion and government intertwined, all of these things are going on right now.
Yeah. Do you think that the Democrats are doing anywhere close enough to combat the Trump administration right now?
Right now, the Democrats need to get together. We're not doing what we need to do, which is to spread what we believe in. We're here today because this is No King's Day to combat the issue of Donald Trump, because he's definitely moving fascism into the United States of America. However, the Democrats need to promote what we stand for: equality, the rule of law. You have a rule of law, but on January 6th, you attacked all the police.
All right, Bella, what brought you out here today?
Well, I come out to most of these events, but I've been doing it a little differently recently. I've been coming out with signs signs that are actually for the protesters, showing people what their rights are. I think that's something we should all know, and I think most of us know now that we're even more at risk.
Yeah.
Some communities are more at risk than others coming out here, but we know that our First Amendment right to free speech and assembly is being violated, so it's increasingly dangerous. They're trying to make it, go for the Insurrection Act. So I want everyone to be as aware as possible of what their rights are and what they can do.
Yeah.
Safety.
No, that's respectable. I like that. What policies or issues move you the most?
Immigration policy. I think being in Florida right now is at the forefront of my mind. In my community is a really diverse community, and I know so many people close to me that are worried, whose families are at risk or are at risk themselves. I would like abortion policy to be changed. I would like us to stop giving money to Israel and admit that this is a genocide. I don't think that the ceasefire is enough, and I don't think that we should be trying to build hotels in fucking Gaza. So those are the first three that come to mind, but like many other people, there's a lot of things that I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Do you think that these protests, the No Kings protests, will have an effect?
Yeah, absolutely. This kind of thing has had effect for centuries or longer. Anything that ever changed came from a grassroots movement. It's not because a politician woke up one day and decided to have a change of heart. It's because they saw what the people, their base, did. And they know we are a significant portion of the voting population, half, if not more. It does matter what we say and what we think. And coming out in large numbers that gets international coverage, yeah, it does make a difference. I think it also makes a difference on a personal level. It's going to be extremely discouraging. So going out and seeing how many other people care, instead of being in your home and being like, wow, the world sucks and nobody cares. And you come out here and you meet and discover organizations you never heard of, and you see people are making difference, and you learn how to get more involved, how to contact your representatives, and where you can go volunteer your time or where you can go donate your money. I think it does a lot of good.
Do you think that peaceful protest is the only way to achieve your political goals?
I think peaceful protest is one tool, but there's a lot of tools. And I'm not saying that violence is one of them. I don't promote violence. Most people don't. I think peaceful protest is one of the important ones, speech, but there's a lot of other ways to use your freedom of speech, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's with your family, whether it's contacting your legislators. I think that speech is probably the biggest thing that we can do. I think the other biggest thing that we can do is look at where we're supporting and where we're putting our money, what companies we're giving our money to, and where we're throwing our support, just because it's more convenient, which I get. We kind of have been set up to a system where we're almost forced to support the organizations that are oppressing us, but being as aware of that as possible is another really important thing that we can do.
Yeah. And so, I don't want to assume, but do you support boycott, divesting, and sanctioning Israel?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Would you consider voting for a third party in the future?
Yes, I have been on and off registered a third party member. The reason I have registered Democrat in the state of Florida is because we have closed primaries. I know a lot of people can relate to that. Increasingly, the Democratic Party has been losing my respect, especially in the state of Florida. Basically rigging things so you don't really have a choice. And I think I'm a registered Democrat. I really agree with, the majority of the Democratic principles. That being said, a lot of them are not actually coming into fruition, and we can't keep looking at the same thing and doing the same thing, expecting something to change. That's the definition of insanity, right?
Mm-hmm. Last question. In regards to the Charlie Kirk thing that happened, I'm sure you heard about it.
Yes.
How do you feel like the right is using that as a talking point?
They're using it to crush free speech, and they're using free speech almost as an excuse. And I agree with them. I don't think anyone getting up on a stage talking should be murdered. I mean, you ask just about anyone in this country and they will tell you that.
Yeah.
That being said, I feel the same way for every single person at this event and every single person posting an opinion online who, I might add, most people are condemning his murder. And a lot of people are also really unhappy with the things that he said and the things that he represented. And we have a right to express that, just like he had a right to express the way that he felt. He had a lot more power and influence than we do. But no people, like no one in that equation should lose their lives, should lose their jobs, their livelihood, their ability to support their families.
Yeah.
We have these laws in place for a reason. You shouldn't be able to get evicted or kicked out of a public space or lose your job over your opinion or your identity. And I stand for that on either side of the aisle. But we know that a while ago, free speech was important because it was convenient to one side, and now it's not so convenient now that protests are propping up around colleges. The thing is, free speech applies to all of us, and we should execute it no matter what.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you a more general question.
Okay.
So you came for the No Kings?
Yeah.
So what brought you out here today?
I just came out here to protest. I wrote a poem. I wanted to share, my word.
Yeah.
Hand poems out. I am against, what's going on in the country, the actions Trump is taking. So that's why I came here majorly.
Can you read it?
The poem.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, that's why you came out here. I'm interested.
That's something you wrote.
Yes, it's something that I wrote.
Because I saw the Malcolm X.
It's a reference.
Yeah.
So the title is The Bullet or the Ballot. Okay. We trusted the ballot to hold the line, the ballot that would supposedly stop the eternal rot in time. But the ballots cast with hope and care were soon drowned beneath wrath and despair. The first 100 came in fast, with tariffs and bans, a backward blast. The press was called an enemy, and the truth is hidden for the sake of vanity. The president signed with fury, yet smiled for show, as families cried at court rows. An entire nation shamed, and yet his base still cheered his name. Science was gagged, judges were slammed, the fragile norms of law and justice jammed. He fed the blaze and flamed the fight until the day turned into night. The ballot warned, but he defied. He governs loud, full of lies. He seeks to mobilize fascism in disguise, but the sun will always rise. The bullet remains if the ballot is taken away. Uncle Sam must decide. It's got to be the ballot or the bullet. It will be liberty or it will be death. That is the poem. It's a direct reference to Malcolm X's speech, the ballot or the bullet. Yeah. So.
How is your life being affected by politics today?
It's a lot. A lot's been affecting me so far.
Yeah.
I've seen friends, especially my friends. I have like multiple friends who are going through a lot more than me, having their families torn away from them.
Yeah. Are you like a high school, college age?
No,
or?
I'm actually 20 years old.
20.
I'm in college.
So,
yeah. And, what's happening right now, I wouldn't say that, there's a few things that actually directly infected me, yeah. Especially with like the cuts. I have a brother and sister who are in the military. Yeah. And I know that earlier this year, they were trying to cut VA funding. Yeah. So even though I'm not directly,
but it's your family.
It's influence. I have many people around my circle who are currently going through a lot because of Trump's policies and his unlawful actions. So yeah.
Last question. Do you find it hard to talk about political issues, like with family, friends, stuff like that?
With family and friends, no. But I would say out in the general public, yes. Like, for example, at work. Well, at the same time, I wouldn't think that politics is something that you're supposed to speak about at work.
Why do you think that?
Well, not because it's something that shouldn't be done, but mostly because I believe that certain things could happen to you that will hurt you. Like, imagine if, I guess, your boss was like, if you're a Democrat, right, and your boss is Republican, he might fire you out of spite or simply because, like, he's a die-hard MAGA supporter, So there's a few times, I question when I should start talking about politics, when I should, mention how things are going wrong in the country.
Yeah.
But here I feel completely safe because I'm around people who believe in the same thing I do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Explain, man, why you came here today.
I'm out here because there's a lot of unconstitutional practices going on right now. There's I guess, legalized racial profiling right now. There's a lot of there's a lot of turmoil in the country. There's a lot of uneasiness, and it's coming from the fact that we know that the Constitution gives everybody these protections and these rights, and they're being violated unconstitutionally. And the worst part is that slowly the Supreme Court is actually making changes and turning things over. I'm not sure what's going to come of it or if a decision has been made, but just the fact that they're floating around the idea of overturning the 14th Amendment is preposterous. Birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship is what got Donald Trump the citizenship from birth to be able to run for president. He's of immigrant descent.
Also, his wife's an immigrant.
His wife is also an immigrant as well. So that would mean that if he overturns birthright citizenship, Barron Trump is no longer a citizen. However, this idea of overturning birthright citizenship and making all these dramatic changes, it comes from bigotry. It comes from, I want us to stay, meaning his demographic, but I want everybody else out.
So let me ask you, if the Democrats seem to not question him and the Republican Party seems to just cater to whatever he does, how do you see the country looking like even after his administration?
Things look grim. Things look real grim. Because the Republican Party, this isn't what the Republican Party is supposed to stand for. There's a lot of spinelessness in the Republican Party because it's turned to MAGA. MAGA is not the Republican Party. They're not synonymous. This has been a stain on the Republican Party, but we also must call out the Democrat Party for being spineless as well, because no action is being taken. I don't see things going in a good direction. Nobody's standing up to tyranny. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more that can be done that isn't being done. I'm pretty sure that some Democrat is also in the Epstein files. But in an effort to, how can I say, maybe turn a blind eye to it. Yeah, turning a blind eye to the whole Epstein debacle with the Trumpstein list. They're letting them get away with it. They're letting them get away with it to protect their own asses too.
Let me ask you, do you think that, because you said it's your first time coming to a protest like this, do you think that stuff like this gives you faith that he won't be able to get away with the certain actions he's doing now, or you think this is still, we're not doing enough?
It's absolutely not enough. I think that this is symbolic, and I think that it's a start. This is nowhere near enough. We have to unite ourselves in peaceful protest. We have to do our American duty. This country was built on the premise of protest. This is stolen land. Let's keep it real. But it was stolen in protest. And just to have the idea that we could start kicking people out on land that was stolen is preposterous.
So you did say you serve. I don't want to get too much into your history, but I am curious because you did bring up earlier. You do know people who voted for Trump or at least served under the army, and they're still being deported back to where they originally came from. You want to clarify? Because that's something that's extremely new to me and to my cameraman.
Absolutely. Service members, servicemen and women, and also veterans have been stopped and detained, and in some cases disappeared or deported by ICE because of racial profiling. They've made it okay to stop somebody based on the color of their skin and take them into custody. You'll have no inclination of whether that man or woman is a citizen. but they'll take them first and ask questions later. And some of those have been servicemen and servicewomen and veterans. I know right now there are several cases where a veteran has been deported. Most notably, there's been a gentleman who I believe he was born in Vietnam, but he was a veteran and he was picked up and disappeared. There was another gentleman who was born outside of the country to American parents on a military post. He was picked up and he was deported to Jamaica, I believe. But he's never been to Jamaica in his whole life. But he was born to American parents, and under the 14th Amendment, being born on a military post, he has birthright citizenship. But he was still deported to a country he's never set foot in. That's alarming.
So, with the current administration in charge, what would you be like your ideal type of person to like go against him? Like, I know we have problems with the Democrat Party, but do you see anybody who can go against Trump in the current administration?
I don't have a lot of faith right now in the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't think of anybody right now who could rise up and sway the votes in such a way, because the Trump cult runs deep right now, and it's very much cultish. If you speak to many Trump supporters, they vote for him based on some kind of bigoted idea. So to rival that is going to be difficult. I can't see anybody in the Democratic Party right now who can rival that. I think that Democrats haven't done enough. It's going to take a large effort. It's disheartening. I really can't think of anybody who can, but something has to be done. I actually would encourage people to maybe go third party. Maybe a third party would have a better shot at dethroning the wannabe dictator.
My last question with you, anything else you want to get out of your mind before we end this interview? Any final thoughts, I guess I always say.
Final thoughts. Well, we're at the No Kings protest. The country was founded on protest, and I think that we're all doing our American duty. Those of us that choose to show up, those of us who choose not to show up or to omit their vote, you're doing everybody a disservice.
Okay.
I don't necessarily agree with the Democratic candidates. I also disagree heavily with the Republican candidates. I feel like I have nobody to represent me right now. That still doesn't mean that sitting on your hands at home is the way to go. I don't advocate for civil disobedience, but the only way to make this government respect us is to fear the people. I'm also a strong advocate of the Second Amendment. We must stay vigilant. We must stay peaceful, but we must be able to enact violence if tyranny comes for us. That's why the Second Amendment exists, to fight a tyrannical government.
Andy, what brought you out here today?
I just think that, like, it's just the right thing to do, because, like, he's done so many horrible things for this country, and he says so many horrible things, and his followers support so many horrible things. And I am a queer woman, and I have lots of queer friends. I have lots of immigrant friends and Black friends and other POC friends. So, like, it's just, like, the right thing to do.
Yeah. What policies or issues move you the most?
Anything with immigration, anything regarding marriage equality, anything regarding women's health. So yeah, any of like the human rights things that he's going after.
Yeah. Who exactly are you trying to speak to with this protest?
I guess mostly Republicans, because Donald Trump's not going to change. He's old and he's clearly declining. Like, you can look at videos from when he was younger, and he's contradicting things that he said in the past.
Yeah.
So just especially like people who don't like lean to one side as much, because there's some people that are so far gone.
Yeah.
But it's more people that aren't sure.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of to open their eyes, be like, oh wait, this is crazy.
Yeah. Do you think that peaceful protest is the only way to achieve your political goals?
No, I think it's better because then the media is going to twist it into saying that everything's violent. Like you can see it like in LA a few weeks, like over the summer.
Yeah.
They were peaceful and then they were attacked first, and then the media said that they were violent. So I think it's better just because of how media spreads.
As a tactic.
Yeah. But and also because with violence, other people, people would get hurt that aren't involved.
Yeah.
So it's definitely better, especially because of how media can skew stuff. So, yeah.
Do you think that the Democrats are doing anywhere close to enough to combat the Trump administration?
I don't know. I don't know how much they can do, but I feel like they could be doing more, maybe just with what they say. I think Democratic leaders, and I think especially a big thing is Democratic leaders don't stick to their word a lot of the time, and they go after the wrong things. So they need to they do need to appeal to the people how Trump does. He does it the wrong way, he scares people, but they do need to go after things that people want.
Yeah.
So.
Are you concerned about your tax dollars or your family's tax dollars being spent on foreign wars and interventions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with everything going on in Israel and Palestine. We know that a lot of our tax dollars are going to help Israel when it shouldn't. So.
Yeah. Do you support boycotting, divesting, and sanctioning Israel?
Yes.
Yeah. What about in terms of what the government's doing, targeting countries in Latin America, like Venezuela, Cuba?
The drugs
the bombing of the boats. Have you heard of that?
I think that we have so many other things to be worrying about right now, and that's just more racism because Trump's been saying they're bringing criminals, they're bringing drugs, and now they're going and attacking random boats. They don't know if they're drugs. A lot of them have been just random people, and they've killed them. So.
Are you becoming more politically active over time, or less?
Yeah, I'm in college right now, and when Trump when the Trump and Biden campaign was going on in 2020, I was a junior in high school, and that's when I really started to pay attention more to politics, and it's just been getting more and more since then.
Yeah. 2 more questions. Do you talk to people around you about these sorts of things?
Yeah, I have a friend from Palestine. I have 2 friends from the Caribbean, and I have lots of queer friends, like I said before, and other POC friends. And we get into these talks a lot about just where the country is headed, especially here in Florida. I don't live here. I go to school here, so I live in New York, so I am safer there.
Yeah.
But especially for the people that do live in certain states where it's not as safe, we do talk about it a lot. And even in New York with my other friends there, because a lot of us are queer there as well, we do talk about it as well, where it's we are in a safe state, but what if they crack down more and make it not as safe?
Do you think that the Democrats are also partly to blame for the corruption in our politics?
I'd say yes. The government in general is corrupt, so I would say yes. But it's also partially just because they don't do enough to, as I said before, really get what the people want, and they don't do what the people want, and they just they make empty promises and stuff like that, and they are kind of silent on a lot of stuff. So.
What brought you out here today?
Because this country is under assault by our president.
What policies or issues move you the most?
Right now, I think the way that immigrants are being kidnapped off the street, it's very scary.
You think it's a slippery slope?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to become, American people next, protesters.
Mm-hmm. How is your life being affected by politics today?
I'm 62 years old. I've been going to protest since I was 12. And this is the worst I've ever seen this country.
Yeah. Do you think that these protests, the No Kings protests, will have an effect?
I absolutely do. Because people who've never protested before have come out. People who are afraid to protest are seeing other people protest, and that gives them, the ability to think, hey, I can do this too.
What do you plan to do, or are you thinking about 2028?
I hope there's an election.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party?
Well, the Republican Party, used to stand, so they said, for the First Amendment and for, just America, not Russia.
Yeah.
They're very pro-Russia, and all of the GOP in Congress, or most of them anyway, are covering up, and they won't release the Epstein files. They're covering up for someone who I believe is a pedophile.
Yeah. Do you think that the Democrats are doing enough to combat the
I think they need more balls.
Yeah.
People are starting to really, AOC and Jasmine Crockett. We need to turn it around and do and speak to the American people the same way that the Republicans have been speaking to the American people, because it seems that, unfortunately, that kind of just almost meanness is what people start listening to. And people have to hear what's really happening and how it's affecting them, and realize that they're voting against their own best interests.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit about your sign here?
Yeah, this is my dad. My dad, Marty. He was a combat infantryman in World War II.
Yeah.
And he spent his entire life helping people. He was very anti-war because of what he went through.
Yeah.
But he was very, very into, teaching his children about equality. Yeah. Nobody's better than anybody else.
Yeah.
And he lived to 99 years old. He was alive during the first Trump term.
Okay.
And when Trump was standing in front of the church with the Bible upside down, when the people were gassed, with the tear,
the tear gas,
the tear gas and everything, the American people. He saw that, and he said he wanted to put back on his uniform and protect the American people, and that's really how he felt.
Yeah. Are you concerned about your tax dollars being spent on foreign wars and interventions?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you? Have you been seeing the targeting of Latin American countries by the government, like Venezuela and Cuba?
Yeah, I think it's what he's done in Venezuela, off the waters. It's all illegal. Who knows who those people really were?
Exactly.
Those boats can be stopped.
Yeah.
Not a problem to be stopped easily.
Yeah. My last question would be, do you talk to people around you about these sort of things, and do you find it hard to?
No, I'm very outspoken about it. I actually live in North Carolina. I'm down here visiting my mom, but I'm very outspoken, and I'm always with facts trying to educate people.
Gotcha. Delvis, what brought you out here today?
I mean, for me, the biggest reason was fighting for Hispanic rights. Like, both of my parents are immigrants, so to see how awful like ICE has been is something where it's like I feel like I have to stand up for their rights. You know, they did so much coming to this country for me that I wanted to be here and pretty much, I don't know, show my First Amendment right, protest, and say this is wrong. What's happening?
What policies or issues move you the most?
Negatively or positively?
Whichever, you know, like you really think about the most, you know?
I would want to say between affordable housing and healthcare, I think when those things move in the right direction, we're really helping those that are in poverty. I think that's something where it's like I would love to see more change there and a better understanding of how we fight this class war, which I feel is the biggest issue. I don't believe it should be red versus blue, left or right. I think it's a class war, and that's what I would push for.
Yeah. How is your life being affected by politics today?
Well, fear for my family. I mean, all my family is Hispanic, and they look Hispanic, so I fear that they're targeted. My mom only just recently became a citizen, so unfortunately, I can't say the same for my dad, who I fear could be deported, especially working in construction. But I mean, it's also rising prices. I mean, I feel like I can't even. This is not a problem, but just an example of I can't even purchase things online anymore, thinking how much are the tariffs are going to be, you know, and then people believing that we're not paying it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you think that these protests, the No Kings protests, will have an effect, and what type?
Optimistically, I would always say yes, that these have an effect, and it's because it's the type of showcase that we are here, and if these protests didn't happen, I believe those in power would believe they have an easier time in trampling over us. So I always would want to say that yes, they're gonna see that if they want to push the line, we're gonna be out here peacefully, but we're gonna be out here protesting that. Yeah.
Do you think that the Democrats are doing anywhere near enough to combat the Trump administration?
Near enough, it's tough to say. I always feel like they could either do more, but sometimes it's not about doing more, it's about doing better. I feel like some of the, like coming from the politicians themselves, I just feel like sometimes they allow themselves to either be distracted or they use a certain language that I feel like sometimes it just doesn't address what we're actually talking about. I mean, there are some shining moments, but there's so many times where they miss the ball. Yeah. They really do.
Do you think that the Democrats are also partly to blame for the corruption in our politics?
100%. I wouldn't, like, I feel like, you know, personally, I feel like they're the lesser of two evils. So I lean a little bit more towards left, but as I've gotten older and seen more politics, there's corruption on both sides. Yeah. I just feel like my policies align a little bit more with the left, but they're, you know, it's not perfect over there.
Would you consider voting for a third party in future elections?
I want to say yes, 100%. My only fear is, especially when you had Kamala versus Donald, it was, voting a third party in that race was almost feeling like you're losing from the left, because you know the right's not going to vote third party. It was such a moment where voting for a third party, it felt like I don't want to say it negatively, but it felt like tossing away a vote. And that's something that I fear for, but I don't believe in. There should only be a two-party system.
Yeah. What do you think about the government targeting Latin American countries like they're doing in Venezuela and Cuba?
I think it's horrific. I mean, especially with seeing what's been happening with Venezuela and international waters. I mean, it's just ridiculous how they're they don't listen to law. You know, they don't follow it, and they are committing war crimes now. It's insane what they do, but it's just, what do they have to show for it? You know, and now we have 2 survivors, and while I want to say that's amazing that they're survivors and they may be able to tell their story, that's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
That's not a guarantee that we're going to be able to, definitively, hey, look, they're not drug traffickers.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Last question. Do you talk to people around you about these sort of things? And do you find it hard to nowadays?
I mean, I talk to friends and family about it. I feel like there it's easy because I'm already comfortable with them.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a stranger or people I've just met. I mean, I carefully observe to see where they start. Like, what do they believe in? You know, I don't want to just
put yourself out there. Huh?
No, I just don't want to be annoying. I feel like there's a right way to approach these conversations that doesn't feel overbearing or, oh man, like we're not trying to talk about politics. I mean, it's something that affects everyone. I feel like it should be a discussion.
Yeah.
But for those that don't want to partake in it, I don't want to like force it on them. At least like in an annoying way, in a negative way. And then lastly, to those that oppose, I welcome a good debate. I do not mind it. I've been listening to other debates happening today, but it's just something that I listen carefully to see where the bad faith arguments are at.
Mm-hmm. What brought you out here today?
It affects me directly because I'm born from immigrants. I'm immigrant, and I just think everyone should have equality. No one should have to fight for basic human rights.
Mm-hmm. So would you say the immigration issue or the war issue is your most important issue?
Yeah, but not only that, like everyone deserves to have rights, abortion, everyone deserves basic human decency, and everything has just gotten pretty violent in these past couple of months, and so yeah, I would say war and immigration are my main issues though.
Who exactly are you trying to speak with this protest today?
I'm trying to speak to anyone who supports him, honestly. Obviously directly to him, but anyone that supports him. Like, I want everyone to know that I'm fighting for equality, for freedom.
Do you think that these protests will have an effect?
I think so. Yeah, I hope so.
We hope so. Do you think that peaceful protest is the only way to achieve your political goals?
I mean, I don't think obviously violence speaks volumes, but I don't think it's the way we should go. I think we should keep it peaceful as much as we can.
What are your thoughts? I know you're young, but what are your thoughts on both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party?
Well, see, that's a tough one. My view, honestly, is the one that supports like human respect, human freedom, human rights. And right now, the Republican side lost me.
Yeah. Are you concerned about your family's tax dollars being spent on foreign wars and interventions?
I'm concerned that it's going to be used on violence. I'm concerned that it's not going to be used for the human people, for the American people. I'm concerned that he's going to use it on stuff that doesn't need it, or people that don't need it. Not that people don't need it, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, use it in the right way.
Yeah.
What do you think about our government targeting countries in Latin America right now, like Venezuela or Cuba?
It hurts, you know, because that's where I'm from. I don't know. It just hurts. Like, I don't like it.
Are you becoming more politically active over time, do you think?
Yeah. My goal is to get into politics.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because it affects my people directly and me directly, so that's my goal.
So those were some voices from the No Kings protest this weekend. I love talking to people out there. I mean, a lot of people were nice, you know, a lot of people were lively, passionate, had good things to say, good things to advocate for. You know, we're worried about this country, we're worried about their situation economically, immigration statuses, rights, in terms of rights being taken away. these are, everyday Americans are concerned. And that is represented in these No Kings protests. I mean, you don't get millions of people out in the street for nothing. It represents something. It represents that people are angry, People are angry. And specifically, with the tagline of No Kings, obviously they're angry with Trump and the Trump administration and his authoritarianism. It's obvious, it's blatant, it's an anti-democratic. It's against. It's a war, if you will, against regular folks, and people have a sense that they need to fight back in this war. And they don't know, a lot of people, we don't know how to fight back. And No Kings organizers, whoever put these things together, figured that they'd give people a vessel like this to make their voices heard and fight back. Now, that's where my critique comes in, because as much as everybody that showed up to the event is practicing their rights to protest and to freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and us as freedom of the press, and freedom of expression, I mean, it was a celebration of that. Yes, and that's great. But was it a productive protest? And that's where some of my questions came in, we're kind of trying to answer. I was trying to kind of understand where people's heads were at, what type of messaging was the focal point of these protests. What was the focus? What was the aim? What was the demand? There's no demands attached to them. You go on nokings.org and you go to the What About page. About No Kings. In June, we did what many claimed was impossible, peacefully mobilized millions of people to take to the streets and declare with one voice, America has no kings. And it mattered. The world saw the power of the people. President Trump's birthday parade was drowned out by protests in every state and across the globe. His attempt to turn June 14th into a coronation collapsed, and the story became the strength of a movement rising against his authoritarian power grabs. 4 months later, that movement roared back even stronger. On October 18th, over 7 million Americans joined 2,700 plus events in all 50 states, a nationwide uprising, note the word uprising, 14 times larger than both of Trump's inaugurations combined. Note these sort of superficial numbers and superficial evocations of Trump's psyche. I think that these this is me talking now. I'm not reading right now, but I think that this protest was trying to talk to Trump, and it wasn't asking, it wasn't demanding anything of even Trump. And then you scroll down a little bit and you see all the partners, all the organizations and the partners that were, signed on and kind of, giving their voice like, hey, we support this. There's a lot that you would recognize. There's a Bernie, coalition. You got Black Voters Matter. You got the ACLU. You got Climate Defenders. You got Common Cause. You got the Debt Collective, which is Debt Collective, does good work. You got Greenpeace, you got Hold the Line, you got Human Rights Campaign, you got Move On, you got Our Revolution. It's a very wide net, and it's a very Democrat Party sort of supporter movement coalition, So it calls into question a lot of things, because to me this statement, about, what this is all about, there's not even an about to me. Yeah, it's obvious. He's an authoritarian. He's a fascist. He's a wannabe dictator. Are we talking to him? There's no appeal to reason possible. Is just so vapid. There's no substance to this. This No Kings messaging, and it just makes sense because the Democrats are kind of behind it. There's so much omitted. There's no demand. There's no mention of the problems in specific detail. There's no mention of the overlying problem, which is capitalism. Okay? And this is runaway capitalism. This is what capitalism does. And we have two bought and paid for capitalist parties. One of them is coming for everybody's rights, and the other is pretending that, standing on the sidewalk and posting on social media and voting your way out of this is the way to solve the problems. The problems didn't arise with Trump. Trump is what you get when you don't solve the problems. And it's very disappointing. And a lot of people out there, they know that. I'm talking to them, they know that. But they don't see any options. They don't see any off-ramps, any ways to combat this takeover. And they see that, well, everybody that's also mad is gonna go out there and, okay, maybe we can do a show of force and, make them, the oligarchs or the administration or the politicians a little scared and seeing how many people are upset. I think that they know that we're upset. They're moving the economy, the police, the military, the budget in a way to kind of control our dissent, control our ability to affect the system, to control the system in any way. And one way that they do it is co-opting or controlling the messaging around protests, how to protest, where protesting is acceptable, methods of protest. No Kings is very focused on, peaceful, non-violence, permitting, non-spontaneity. It was said best by somebody out there. It was one of the first guys, and he actually was wearing a Stitch costume. It was kind of interesting. But Stitch said something, that we all really should really think about twice. He said that, these protests have to go on, It's this one protest is not gonna work. It has to be a long haul sort of thing. and multiple methods going on at once, and putting pressure on the people in power in all different sorts of ways, including economically, withholding one's consumption. That's boycotts, divesting, sanctioning. These are very powerful tactics that no kings doesn't touch, doesn't deal with, doesn't mention. There's no dealing with the problem at hand, Their power base, these fascists' power base, are the mega corporations. The mega corporations make money off us. Now, I'm not gonna get too much in the weeds, but I mean, that's where the changes will come. Is if, and then we're already seeing that. That's why the economy is they're attempting to shift the way the economy even is structured. I mean, there's more to say on future episodes. I didn't want to get too deep into all that, but this was just kind of more of a analysis of the event. Like I'm trying to cover the event to the best of my ability. This is how I see it. I hope that people keep coming out there, and I'll keep going out there and to other events. In fact, this coming, just to mention another event that's different from No Kings, I mean, there's going to be a pro-Palestine protest at the Boca Raton government office around 3 p.m. So if you're interested, if you're near that area, I mean, I would look into it. I'll try to post it, some information about it in the show notes. And I'm going to try to cover that one, I mean, because, I mean, this issue of Israel-Palestine is not going away. And we talked about that with a few people out there on Saturday. In fact, the very first person that we wanted to talk to was the one person there with waving a Palestine flag. If I was to say the demographics, it was mostly an older crowd. Not to say there weren't young people. There were a lot of young people, and we talked to a lot of young people, but it was mostly older folks. More Democrat leaning folks, working class people, older folks that maybe live in the suburbs. Some people who live in the city. Students, a lot of different people. Black, white, Hispanic people, definitely. If people are out there, people are out there. At the end of the day, it's a good opportunity to talk to people and to organize within the protests, and to build a web of communication with people who are caring about these issues and want to solve some problems, So that's how I took it. Thank you for everybody who stopped and talked to us when you didn't have to. I appreciate that. On the topic of anti-revolutionary tactics, I can do a quick media critique of the week. Talking about this, I didn't see the movie, okay? So in all honesty, I can't say from first-hand experience about the movie one battle after another. But a lot of people are talking about it, and I've heard a lot about it. I did see the trailer a few weeks ago, and I said, that looks like an interesting movie. I would like to see it just to see what it could be. This seems like they're evoking some interesting themes, right? They're and so I said, okay, decent actors. Let's give it a try. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm a picky cinephile these days, very very picky, and if my favorite and most trusted political commentator Brianna Joy Gray is saying that one battle after another is a anti-revolutionary psyop, then I kind of gotta take her at her word and just leave that one be, not give any money towards that, you know. So I'm not gonna really talk too much about the movie. If you want to know what I mean by, or what she means by anti-revolutionary psyop, then I will put the link in the show notes so that you can kind of go deal with that directly from that perspective, But that's it. Let's keep it to No Kings. Later in the week or next week, I'll drop another episode about what I was originally gonna record this week about, which was Latin America and sort of the US's direct stance and provocation of war against Latin American countries like Venezuela and Cuba and Colombia, and talk about a few other countries as well. And from, obviously the human perspective, because the mainstream media doesn't seem to represent any sort of rational, sane human perspective. Last thing I'll say, if you are interested in discussing the topics of this podcast, you could message us through Substack at anthrotographer, or email us to anthrotographer@gmail.com. That's where you can message. Anyway, peace.